Welcome back everyone to Sporting Logically. Today we are looking back at one of the biggest what-if scenarios in recent NBA history, and it just so happens to involve the two most prominent and prestigious franchises the league has to offer, the Los Angeles Lakers and the Boston Celtics. The direct event is David Stern stepping in and canceling the Hornets trade to send Chris Paul to the Lakers in 2011. But how would that affect the Boston Celtics and who they are today over 6 years later? That is what we will be exploring today. After being eliminated by the Lakers in 6 games in the first round of the playoffs in 2011, Chris Paul let it be known that he wanted to explore his options outside of the Hornets organization moving forward. Fearing that Paul would walk without getting anything in return, the team began to aggressively search for a trade partner for their all-star point guard. The only problem was the franchise was in a strange situation at the time. As a result of the financial struggles of the team, the NBA itself had taken ownership of the Hornets for the time being, which left an odd power dynamic within the team's basketball operations. GM Dell Demps was apparently assured that the league and Commissioner David Stern would not interfere with the basketball side of things, but whether that is true or not depends on who is telling the story. Regardless of the details, there was clearly some confusion within the organization in terms of who was in charge of personnel decisions, as in December of 2011 the Hornets agreed to send Paul to the Lakers until David Stern stepped in soon after the deal was struck to call it off. Now depending on who you ask, Stern either vetoed the trade entirely, asked for more compensation in return for Paul, or the trade was never even agreed to in the first place. The truth is probably a combination of all three of those things, but we'll never really know exactly what took place. What we do know is that Paul never became a Laker, and a few days later he was traded to the Clippers, where he spent 6 seasons before moving to the Rockets this past offseason. It's important to remember though that at the time he was traded to the Clippers, it wasn't completely clear if Paul intended on staying with the team for the long term. He opted into his contract with the Clippers once he joined the team, something they required before completing the deal with the Hornets in the first place, but that only locked him in for 2 seasons, and made him eligible for free agency in the summer of 2013. Obviously, the Clippers wanted to do everything they could to keep Paul happy and in LA for the foreseeable future, as they had surrendered significant assets at the time to acquire the all-star guard. Building up the roster around him and adding the talent necessary to be serious contenders in the West was always a given, but the Clippers believed there was one move that would seal the deal for Paul to re-sign with the team long-term, acquiring then Celtics head coach Doc Rivers to become the head coach of the team. After so much success with the Celtics, including winning the 2008 NBA championship, Rivers spent the 2012-13 season guiding an aging roster to a first-round playoff exit in what would be his last season in Boston. That offseason, the Clippers acquired Rivers for a first-round draft pick, a move that ultimately led to Paul re-signing with the team prior to the 13-14 season. After Rivers left, the Celtics started a complete rebuild of their roster, trading away franchise legends Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce to the Nets that offseason, and hiring a young new head coach to lead an equally young roster moving forward, Brad Stevens. Stevens had tremendous success in the college ranks at Butler, and although many people questioned his NBA readiness at the time, he has proven to be one of the best and brightest coaches in the league today. Knowing all that, just think about how much that single move by David Stern to prevent Paul from going to the Lakers impacted the modern NBA. If Paul never becomes a Clipper, then neither does Doc Rivers. It is complete speculation where the Celtics would have gone from there, but it's unlikely that they would have pursued a rebuild as aggressively as they did if Rivers was still leading the team. They may have eventually parted ways with their longtime coach, or he could have even retired within the next few seasons as was rumored at the time. But Stevens may have accepted a different position either in college or in the NBA at the time, and they may have never struck that deal with the Nets that has turned into one of the most lopsided deals in league history and has set the team up for so much current and future success. In addition, without his former college coach in Stevens waiting for him in Boston, Gordon Hayward very well could have stayed with the Jazz this past offseason, further changing the current NBA landscape. Essentially, the entire makeup of the current Celtics roster can be traced back to the plan put in place by GM Danny Ainge back in 2013. A plan that began with trading away Doc Rivers to the Clippers and hiring Brad Stevens, moves that were directly impacted by Chris Paul becoming a Clipper rather than a Laker. As I said, a lot of this is just speculation, but it is clear that if Chris Paul became a Laker, the Celtics would be a completely different team today. This just proves that in a league with as much personnel movement as the NBA, even forgotten trades or near trades can have a drastic impact on the league as a whole for years to come. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like rating down below. And if you'd like to see more videos just like this, please be sure to subscribe as well. Thank you all so much, and I will see all of you guys next time.